Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited to have you guys here. If you came from TikTok, comment down below a little heart hands emoji. I want to see where my TikTok fam is at. If you don't already follow me over on TikTok, I'll put my handle here. That way you guys can go check it out. I've built an audience of 50,000 followers over there and I talk about all things beauty, and of course I do the get ready with me's as well. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a deep dive into brands that are in their flop era. If you guys don't follow me over on Instagram, I asked you on my stories brands that you think are in their flop era, so we're gonna go over those responses today. I have my notes here, so we're gonna dive in. The first brand we're gonna talk about is Too Faced. We're gonna start by talking about the most iconic launches from these brands and a time when these brands were in their peak, and then do a deeper dive into recent product launches and why we believe that these brands are in their flop era. I want you guys to pause this video and comment down below the first product that comes to mind when you think of Too Faced. For me personally, the product I think of is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar Palette. This palette is actually super nostalgic for me. This is the first high-end makeup palette that I ever purchased for myself when I was like 15 years old. I saved up all my coin to go to Sephora inside JCPenney to buy it. At the time, these types of palettes were super revolutionary. This was around 2014, and then in 2016 we got the Sweet Peach palette from Too Faced. At the time in the industry, I feel like Too Faced was crushing it with these launches. This was back in a time when beauty launches were few and far between because brands put a lot more thought and effort into the marketing and the launches. If you look at the market today, it's super oversaturated, and we have brands like ColourPop who are releasing a launch and a collab with a different brand every single week. At the time, I feel like Too Faced was super revolutionary when it came to prestige cosmetics because they definitely had a different approach than most brands in the beauty space. If you look at a brand like Too Faced, their packaging is super cutesy and super fun, which is really good for the average consumer in my opinion. Take a brand like Anastasia, for example, and compare them to Too Faced. Anastasia is definitely more of an artistry brand. It's obviously still available for the everyday consumer, but for somebody that's not super into the artistry or isn't a pro makeup artist, I feel like Too Faced was just a lot more consumable. This also came at a time when everybody was collecting makeup, so the packaging definitely had a big hand in that. Everybody wanted to display them in their beauty rooms, and I definitely don't blame them. I was the same exact way. I was definitely the consumer that dropped $100 on the Better Than Sex mascara vault just because I wanted to hang up the packaging in my room. I was a super heavy Too Faced consumer up until I would say as recent as 2022. A lot of their launches really caught my eye and I just wanted to collect them all. I found myself feeling super intrigued by Too Faced launches, and I don't know what it is about it. It might be the nostalgia, because if you look at these products, a lot of them definitely are not revolutionary anymore. I'm just going to insert a picture here of all of the Too Faced holiday launches I've gathered from 2016 to 2022, and I just want you guys to take a look at how similar these products are and how recycled all of these shades look. Never mind the quality of these palettes as well, you guys. These are definitely not up to the standard of Too Faced quality that you would get in their normal eyeshadow palettes. I feel like these holiday launches kind of had a hand in why Too Faced had sort of a decline, because once people realized that the quality of these palettes wasn't consistent at all, they kind of lost faith in the brand as a whole that their products were going to be better quality. Let's talk about Too Faced as of recently and some of their newer product launches and how they're trying to stay relevant in the beauty space. I think the product that's caught my eye and a lot of people's eye recently is new Born This Way foundation. This is the Born This Way Healthy Glow SPF 30. We all know how iconic the original Born This Way foundation is. That was really huge in the beauty community. Now skip to 2023, everybody's kind of more into this clean girl vibe. Everyone's into skincare. We love SPF. And I think that Too Faced did a really good job of incorporating all of that into a product. I think the nostalgia of the Born This Way title and everybody remembering how much we loved that foundation also has a draw in this newer product. It's a lightweight, buildable coverage. I have not personally tried this foundation, but I have seen many reviews online and it seems to have really positive feedback. In terms of trying to stay relevant in the beauty space, this product definitely hit the nail on the head for Too Faced. I get very similar vibes from the Better Than Sex Mascara Chocolate. This is also a newer launch from them that I think is really doing well. Again, does really well with the marketing of tying that chocolate back into the original chocolate bar palette. I feel like Too Faced is very known for that. A brown mascara in today's market is very consumable because again, it ties into that clean girl aesthetic and that more like natural beauty. I think they did a really good job with this launch like I said, tying into the nostalgia factor of the chocolate and then tying it into today's beauty space with the clean girl aesthetic, plus the iconic Too Faced Better Than Sex. You either love it or you hate it, but that product did really well for the brand. As far as eyeshadow palettes go, I cannot remember the last time I was excited for a Too Faced eyeshadow palette launch. The newest palette launch from Too Faced, I'm going to insert a picture here, is the Italian Spritz eyeshadow palette, and this is an Ulta exclusive palette. If you take a look at this palette, it's 18 shades. It comes with 10 matte shades and 8 shimmer shades. If we take a look at the layout of these shades, I feel like it is not very consumable for the everyday makeup wearer. In my personal opinion, I do not feel any excitement when I look at this palette launch. I don't think that the packaging is very cute, and I get the summer vibe, but it's just not really giving. I feel like if this palette were to have launched in the prime of Too Faced, it would have done really well, but I do not see a lot of people purchasing this product, and I haven't really seen any reviews or excitement over it. I can't just look at this palette and think of an eye look to put together. I think that the shimmers being super colorful kind of throws it all off. The creative juices just are not flowing when I look at this palette, and I think that this is definitely a flop for the brand. Overall, I would agree that Too Faced is in their flop era only because they are very, very known for their iconic eyeshadow palettes, and it's been a very long time since Too Faced came out with a palette that I've seen anybody get excited over. Everything that Too Faced launches just seems to be recycled and put into new packaging, which definitely is very boring. I will agree that Too Faced is officially in their flop era. Moving on to our next brand, which was pretty surprising to me, but I had a couple of people say Anastasia Beverly Hills, so let's dive into it. Starting with the most iconic launch, in my opinion, from Anastasia Beverly Hills, we have the Modern Renaissance palette. You talk about iconic, this palette was literally the it girl. I have my original Modern Renaissance palette here, you guys. I just need to show you how loved this palette is. Look how iconic she is. Definitely used and abused. This palette, in my opinion, maybe this is a hot take, was definitely more iconic than the Too Faced chocolate bar palette. This palette was really the one that changed the game. Can we talk about a time in the beauty space when we all wore neutral eyeshadow, but it was really reds and purples from this palette? This palette is still for sale. It retails for $45 on Ulta's website. I will tell you, in stores, this palette went on sale. I'm not sure exactly what the sales price is, but you can no longer buy this palette in stores at Ulta Beauty, which I feel like is the end of an era. I think Anastasia also did really well at the time. They were like a super luxe brand, definitely more geared towards artistry, but if you were in the beauty community, you wanted all of these products. They were so luxe and so rich and so beautiful. We also were all in the world of the dip brow pomade, which I think definitely made a huge staple in the beauty community. Arguably, I think Too Faced and Anastasia, especially in the realm of like 2016 to 2018 beauty community, were the two most iconic brands. Anastasia always comes out with the most iconic palette launches, in my opinion. For me, Anastasia stands out when it comes to the competition in form of oversaturating the market. There was a time in the beauty space when Anastasia, like other brands, were doing a ton of influencer collaborations, and those launches all came pretty quick. I think their standalone eyeshadow palette launches definitely stand out in the beauty community still to this day. And I still think that they come out with the most iconic and exciting palette launches. Let's talk about their most recent launch. This is definitely on my wish list. This is the Cosmos palette from them, and you guys, this palette is the most stunning palette that I have seen in a long time. This palette comes with 5 mattes and 7 shimmers, which I think is a beautiful balance for a palette. And just by looking at this color scheme, I already feel super inspired to do so many different looks. I'm really intrigued by this top corner shade called Super Cluster. It is a gorgeous multi-chromatic blue shade. A lot of the times when palette launches happen with brands, you're either super overwhelmed by the palette or you see a vision right away. And with this palette, I definitely see a vision right away. I think they executed this very well. And I think that this palette is perfect for the everyday consumer as well as the beauty enthusiast. I will say that Anastasia is in their flop era for me personally when it comes to base products, because I don't think Anastasia has ever really been known for their base products. They definitely tried to stay relevant in this space with their base launches. They had their highlight and blush sticks. And the last product I remember being excited for when it came to base products from Anastasia was their cream bronzers, which I still have yet to try out. But I just feel like the products they come out with for the face are pretty lackluster, and you can find them in a lot of mass brands for better quality. I will say, as a makeup artist, I love the range that you get with their lipsticks and lip liners. These are some of the prettiest shades, and there is such a huge range. There's definitely going to be a lipstick for every skin tone, and they have come out with the palest nude lipstick that I have yet to find. For me personally, I do not agree that Anastasia is in their flop era, especially when it comes to the eye makeup, but I will agree that their base makeup is a little lackluster. Personally, I am still super excited whenever there is an Anastasia launch, and I still want to collect all of their palettes. Moving on to the last and final brand that we are going to be discussing today, we're moving on to the mass side of cosmetics and we're going to discuss Morphe. Morphe has always held this really huge spot in the beauty community. In my opinion, they were super revolutionary back in the day. They had some of the most iconic palette launches, especially when it came to huge artistry palettes. You definitely qualify for a senior discount if you owned the original Morphe 350 palette. I think Morphe changed the game with the size of their palettes and the quality for the price. They definitely had the best price point when it came to how much product you were receiving. Morphe, as of recently, has this habit of coming out with the same products over and over again. If you guys have seen their little 9-pan palettes, they're really kind of lackluster in my opinion. They're mostly monochromatic, but they just feel like the same palette every single time. I will give a highlight to the Morphe brow products because those stand in my mind as some of the best mass cosmetics brow products. Morphe is definitely a giant in the industry when it comes to influencer collabs as well. I think the most iconic influencer collab that Morphe has done was obviously the Jaclyn Hill collection. Before everything went down with Jaclyn Hill and the controversies, I will say that these palettes, the 1 and the 2, were some of my favorite palettes that Morphe has ever come out with. As of more recently, Morphe has collabed with Avani. I do really enjoy that palette as well. I think it's super iconic because it comes with shadows and water activated liners, which Morphe had never done before. And Morphe also collabed with Meredith Duxbury to come out with some blushes. One thing I will give Morphe props for is the quality of their products. Even throughout all of these years, the quality of the products has never really gone down in my opinion. You can still pick up a Morphe eyeshadow palette and it's going to be the same pigmented palette that it's always been. I also think that the shadows perform really nice, especially for the price point. If you're looking for a beginner palette, I think this is definitely a brand that I will still recommend. But I think as of relevancy and keeping up in this beauty space, I think that Morphe is definitely entering their flop era if they're not already there. Okay guys, that is it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below your opinions. Do you think these brands are in their flop era? Let me know if I should do a part 2 because I have some other brands that I could definitely dive into. If you guys aren't already subscribed, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and turn on the post notification bell if you want to know every time I post. And like I said, go follow me on Instagram if you want to be a part of these polls in the future, and I would love it if you joined the TikTok fam. I'm going to insert the handle one more time here for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting me, and I will see you next time. Bye!